When you make mistakes, it's okay. When he makes mistakes, people go to jail. Do you see the difference? This is huge. You must follow the law. The law says...
Glorious. Is it a lawsuit? Probably. Why not?
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up. It's the Law with attorney Larry Forman. Folks, today we're going to continue with the Brian Walshe murder case hearing. This is Yuri Bukhenik. You may remember Yuri Bukhenik, as he is known and loved from the Karen Reed trial. He is testifying about his interview with Brian into the disappearance of Anna Walshe. We did the first video yesterday. We're going to continue with the second video today, and tomorrow we are going to conclude his testimony and move on to Officer Schmidt. And also, don't forget, Donna Adelson. I hope I'm finally pronouncing that correctly. Thank you all for the comments. I've always heard it pronounced Adelson, and I now understand it's Adelson. So, Donna Adelson, by the way, is in full swing. We had opening statements on Friday. Jury selection concluded, and we are listening to witnesses, and some stuff has already come out. We're going to start covering that very shortly here on this channel. But in the meantime, enjoy Yuri. Or don't. I mean, he is a liar, so let's see what he does and see what he says. Let's go.
Sergeant, do you recognize that document I've just handed you?
Yes, I do.
What is the document I've just handed to you?
It's a copy of a printed out email exchange between Attorney Minor, which I'm CC'd on, and First Assistant Lynn Beeland, and their communications.
And does that document, is that after you had the conversations with Attorney Minor?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I'd ask that this be marked as the next exhibit, and I know that I've fouled up the order, but it is in the binder, and I think it was attached to the defense's pleadings as well.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And what number do you think it is?
So on my listing, I have it as Exhibit 13.
Exhibit 13. You know what he's talking about, Attorney Tipton?
Yes.
And do you have any objection to that?
I do not.
All right.
I feel a little bit better right now that he knows what I'm talking about. I feel a little bit better right now that he knows what I'm talking about, which is great. So, Sergeant, if I may ask, could you read the first email into the record of that chain? First is, who is the sender?
The sender is Lynn Beeland.
Who are the recipients?
It is addressed to Tracy Minor, and I am CC'd on that email.
What is the date and time of the email?
The date is January 6th of 2023, and the time is 3:39 p.m.
And can you read the body of the email?
Yes, sir. Attorney Minor, as requested, the Norfolk District Attorney's Office agrees that in the investigation to Anna Walshe, any conversation between the attorney and client Brian Walshe is excluded from the search and examination of Brian Walshe's phone and the minor child's iPad. It is further agreed that any conversation between Brian Walshe and his wife, Anna Walshe, 1 week before she was missing, 12/25/22 and prior, shall be excluded from the search and examination of Brian Walshe's phone and the minor child's iPad. Should you have any questions, please contact me, Lynn Beeland, First Assistant District Attorney, Norfolk County, and the phone number.
And just for the record, when you say minor child, you are putting that in there opposed to reading the child's name?
Yes, sir.
Now, was there a response to that email that's in the chain?
Yes, there is.
Can you read the response, sir?
The response is, we consent to all communications on or after 12/25. If you want to go back further than that, I will have to get you a list of attorneys, as he has used a bunch of them.
And is there a subsequent response to that?
Yes, there is.
And can you read that into the record?
That date is fine, thank you.
And that was sent from whom?
That was sent from Lynn Beeland.
Did you receive any further email communication from Attorney First Assistant Beeland and Minor after that third entry into the email chain?
I have not, no.
Now, once that was done, those emails had been exchanged, what did you do as far as trying to get the iPads or trying to get the devices?
I didn't do anything about trying to get the devices.
Why didn't you go get them?
I was tasked with traveling out of state, and I was not going to be present.
Where were you supposed to go as a result of traveling out of state?
I was traveling to Washington, D.C.
Why were you going to Washington, D.C.?
The information we had at the time and the multiple reports of Anna coming from D.C., living in D.C., and having traveled back to D.C., based on my conversation with Diana Walshe, I traveled to D.C. to go find Anna.
Did you meet up with anyone in law enforcement to help you in D.C.?
Yes.
Who?
It was Detective Lieutenant Lopes and 2 troopers from another unit on the state police.
Now, so after the email exchange comes through, who do you inform that you've now received permission from Attorney Minor?
I informed Lieutenant Fanning.
And who is Lieutenant Fanning in the chain of command of the detectives unit?
He was the executive officer at the time in the unit.
And where were you when you informed Lieutenant Fanning?
I was in the command post.
And where was the command post located?
It was located a short distance down the street from 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in a shopping plaza parking lot behind the stores.
Now, when you informed Lieutenant Fanning, were you talking to him in person, or was this over the phone, or whatnot?
It was in person.
So, at the command post on the late afternoon of Friday, January 6th, how many state troopers were in and around this area at this point in time?
There were dozens and dozens.
And so, are you aware of who collected the devices from Brian Walshe on January 6th?
I am not aware, no.
So you didn't go to collect the devices?
No, I did not.
When did you return from Washington, D.C.?
It was during the late evening hours of January 8th, or Sunday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken on the date.
And did you have any further conversation with Attorney Minor about the devices after the phone calls and the emails?
No, I did not.
So after the email chain is done, do you have any further phone calls?
No.
And to be specific, with Attorney Minor?
No.
And going back to the second phone call, you told Attorney Minor that you wanted to look at the iPad?
Yes.
And can you just tell us what you told her about wanting to look at the iPad?
The conversation about the extractions, the full data extraction, was in reference to the 2 cell phones. We went into detail about that. Once she consented to those cell phones, I asked if we could also do the same with the iPad.
Was there any concerns about communications on the iPad?
No, there was not.
Did you explain to her whose iPad it was?
The minor
Yes, I did.
child. Yeah.
And when you explained to her, who did you tell her was the user of the iPad?
I told her that based on my understanding, it was the 6-year-old juvenile.
And did you tell her did you tell her anything further about the use of the iPad and why you were looking at it?
No, I did not.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Good afternoon,
All
sir.
right, now it's cross-examination by the defense attorney.
Described your interaction with Diane Walshe.
Yes, sir.
And so you were involved in interviewing Diana Walshe along with the 6-year-old son.
At portions of it, yes.
When you say portions of it, what portions?
The 6-year-old was not present during the entire interview with Diana.
But you were present for the entire interview with Diana Walshe.
I was.
You didn't have any involvement in the interview of Mr. Walshe on January 5th?
No, not the official interview. I just introduced myself and met him. Brief communication verbally, not a formal interview.
Did you arrive at the home at the same time with the other officers who eventually did conduct an interview with Mr. Walshe on January 5th?
If I'm not mistaken, we all arrived together, yes, sir.
So you were sitting, is it fair to say then, during these 2 different interviews, you were in different rooms?
Yes, we were separated. The two rooms are separated by the stairwell or staircase and a wall, I believe, in the home. That's right in the middle of the building. But there's a open space for the front and the rear through the kitchen.
It's fair to say then that there were times during these interviews that you could hear people asking Mr. Walsh questions, correct?
To be accurate, because we were having our own conversation.
And by the way, for the record, the little, I don't know if you can see, there's like little lags in the video. That's on their end. I can't control that. So I do apologize on their behalf.
I merely heard voices. I could not hear the specifics of their conversation or who was speaking.
And it's entirely accurate, isn't it, to say that the entire time that you talked to Diane Walsh, that Mr. Walsh, Mr. Brian Walsh, he was never present for any of that, correct?
With our conversation, sir? No, he was not.
So when you were asked all these questions on direct examination, and you were describing the behaviors of Diane Walsh as you interpreted them, it's fair to say that Mr. Walsh had nothing to do with any of those behaviors of Diane Walsh that you were observing.
Are you asking if he was influencing her behavior?
Yeah.
I could not suggest that, no.
Okay. And I mean, she is the grandmother of this young, the 6-year-old that you were also talking to, right?
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
And this 6-year-old was telling you, in his own words, what he remembered about seeing his mother, correct?
Yes, the information of his recollection was in his own words.
And when you were asked questions on direct examination about the iPad and fixing it, you used the word manipulation, right?
That is a term I use, yes.
Okay. You don't have any specific knowledge about what you characterized as the manipulation of the iPad.
The knowledge I have is that I was told she fixed the device for him. Diana said that the button was broken. Those types of manipulations of the device, in my training experience, would be logged within the database on the device.
But based on that information that you just told the court, when Diane Walsh mentioned a button, what button was it?
She didn't specify.
Okay. And it's fair to say that you didn't make any effort to see if the button was now working or whatever button she was referring to was working, correct?
Correct. I did not see, no.
So you really don't know, do you, at the time, that the iPad was in fact not working, or if it just didn't come on? You really don't know. You're just going on the fact that Diane Walsh said something about a button wasn't working.
It was the child's information that he passed along to us, and what Diana shared as well.
Okay. And the only question that you testified to, that you asked...
And again, for the record, why this is all important is because, remember, the defense attorney, more than likely, filed a motion to suppress, to exclude evidence due to the government, the Commonwealth, the Massachusetts State Police, and other agencies' failure to follow proper procedure when it comes to confiscating and or extracting evidence from the electronic devices that they received from Brian Walsh. Now, they're alleging pure consent. He just handed it over to us and we just took them, and there's no consent form that has been filed. We've already established that a couple of videos ago with I think it was Fanning who admitted that. And now this whole thing comes into question of, did the government, right, the police, did the government rightfully and under color of law confiscate, obtain, and extract the damning searches, the how long does it take for a body to start producing an odor? What is the best tool to dismember a body? Is a hacksaw a good tool? How to dispose of like all those searches that Brian Walshe made on these devices are under question of whether or not they're going to be admissible. Okay? So that's what is continuing to happen. Now let's watch what the defense attorney does and how he approaches continuing of questioning of Yuri Bukhenik / Bukaki.
Diana Walshe, I'm sorry, that you asked the 6-year-old was something to the effect, do you know where your mother is or do you know where your mother went? That was when Diane Walshe interjected and made a comment, correct?
That specific question, she interrupted my full question, so I could not ask the full question. The question was interrupted.
Now, it's fair to say that you haven't been trained in interviewing young, juvenile
That's
children,
a great question.
right?
I don't have specific training for young juvenile children, but I am trained in interviews and interrogations.
Yeah, but children are different. And children have to be treated differently because their minds have not yet fully formed. They're not adults. They can't consent. They can't sign contracts, until you reach the age of majority, which is 18 in the United States of America, as all of you know. I don't need to spell it out for you. But it's important because I thought the same thing, by the way, and I was hoping he was going to bring it out on cross-examination with Bukhenik because the question that Yuri was going to ask is, do you know where your mom is? Can you imagine asking a 6-year-old, do you know where your mother is? And him having to face the fact his mother may no longer be with them? Can you imagine that just putting a kid on the spotlight? I can't. I mean, that is disturbing on so many different levels. I get it. You have a job to do. But that question is so beyond inappropriate. And thank God that Diana was there to interrupt and say, hey, do you know where your mother's, whatever is? Phone or whatever the question was, I forget. That's a really good question. Are you trained to interview children? If you don't have training, then butt out and let somebody who has the training to do the interview. You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. And that question also was completely unnecessary. I don't know why Yuri went there, and I'm glad that he's getting pinched on that.
Right, but you would agree that there are people that are trained specifically to interview young children.
Yeah.
I am aware that there are specialists that conduct SANE interviews.
And you are aware of the fact that eventually on January 5th, there was an agreement to have the young child, the 6-year-old, interviewed by a trained specialist, correct?
I'm not certain of the date when the agreement happened, but I am aware that there was an agreement to do something like that along those lines.
And that would be done by someone in Norfolk, correct? In fact, I think the office that they use is in Norwell, correct? Do you know that?
I am not aware of the location outside of Foxborough, but I could be wrong.
And you would agree, wouldn't you, that...
Also, notice his change in demeanor. Remember how I pointed out on direct examination how different Yuri was compared to the Karen Reed case versus the Brian Walshe case? Well, now, go ahead and compare Yuri on direct examination in the Brian Walshe case and Yuri on cross-examination in the Brian Walshe case. On cross-examination, he is speaking much, much slower. I don't know for certain, but I know that there was an interview conducted. Like, come on, dude. Like, you can clearly tell that he's making sure that his answer is crafted meticulously and accurately so as to not give away the farm, to show that you screwed up the job and you made mistakes. And when you make mistakes, it's okay. When he makes mistakes, people go to jail. Do you see the difference? This is huge. That's why he's like really slowing himself down so that he can make sure that he can answer in the way that he needs to answer, not in the way that he should answer, but in the way that he needs to craft his answer. He's lying. He's lying through his teeth and just making sure that everything is as close to proper as it can be.
In your experience, it's not unusual, is it, for a parent or a grandparent to protect their child or grandchild from certain questions that they think may upset them?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that it's unusual that a child or a parent or a grandparent would do something like that, no.
All right. If I understand your direct examination and some of your questions, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you did or you did not have any conversation with Assistant District Attorney Lynn Beelan regarding any supposed agreement?
I don't have a memory of talking to Lynn Beelan on the phone about the agreement.
And it's fair to say that you've been asked by the Commonwealth in this case to search your records, your emails, whatever, for any such evidence of communicating with Assistant District Attorney Lynn Beelan regarding this agreement, correct?
I have been asked, yes.
And you conducted that search and you found nothing?
Conversations over the phone. I don't have a conversation over the phone specifically in reference to the agreement.
So
but the email is produced. I'm CC'd on it.
Right, but you don't know about the content of any conversation between Assistant District Attorney Lynn Beelan and Attorney Tracy Minor regarding that agreement, do you?
I do not. No.
And it's fair to say that you never attempted to contact Lynn Beelan to make sure that you understood what the parameters were of any agreement, did you?
I did not contact Lynn Beelan. The email spoke for itself.
Well, you've testified here today that, for instance, you just answered a question on direct examination, that the iPad had no limitations put on it, like the search of the iPhone, correct?
Objection, I don't think you said that, Your Honor.
Rephrase the question.
Were there any limitations put on any search of the iPad?
The search limitations were included in the email, and it referenced all devices that we were going to get on consent.
Now, you've also told us that your discussions with Attorney Tracy Minor involved discussing and seizing cell phones, correct?
Yes, there were 2 cell phones, as I mentioned prior, and the iPad that we were aware of.
And regarding the 2 cell phones, we can all agree that one of them was purportedly Mr. Walsh's personal cell phone, and the other cell phone was the one in the Volvo that was attributed to the young 6-year-old, correct?
Yes, sir.
There is no reference in the email that you've referred to today to a second cell phone, is there?
I'd have to take a look at the email, but my understanding through our communications, myself and Tracy Minor, were for 2 cell phones and the 6-year-old's iPad.
Well, I understand that's your memory. I'm asking you that with regards to the email that's been introduced into evidence, there's no reference to a second cell phone, is there?
Yes, based on my reviewing of that email content, there's no reference of a second phone.
That's important. Because if there's no reference to it and it was searched anyway, that could be fruit of the poisonous tree. That's huge. That is huge. What is fruit of the poisonous tree, you ask? If you violate a person's Fourth Amendment right to be free from unlawful search and seizure, well, you don't get to introduce it into evidence. The jury never gets to hear it. All those searches could be like they never happened. Like we know they happened, but the jury won't. That's enormous for the case on behalf
And
of Brian Walshe.
there's no reference to anything other than Brian Walsh's cell phone in that email.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again, please?
There's no reference to any other cell phone other than Brian Walsh's cell phone in that email agreement.
It talks about the 6-year-old's iPad.
Right, but there's no reference to a second cell phone or any other cell phone in that email agreement.
That is correct.
And in fact, there's certainly nothing about all of the minor children's cell phones.
That's correct.
There's reference in that email to one iPad, correct?
Yes.
And there's no reference to more than one iPad in that email, is there?
Just the 6-year-old's iPad.
Sergeant, it's fair to say that you wrote a report where you were discussing this agreement?
Yes, it is. Yes.
And did you review that report before you testified here today on direct examination?
I did review it, yes.
And it's fair to say that in that report, you make reference to an agreement that encompassed, quote, his cell phones in regard to Brian Walshe. And you use the cell phones, plural, correct? In your report.
I believe that's right, if you're not mistaken.
Do you have that report with you?
I don't have it here with me, no.
And if you need to refresh your memory, just tell us. But you also, in that report, make specific reference to the agreement encompassed his minor children's, plural, cell phones, correct?
I'd have to take a look at the report, sir.
All right, then do it.
Yes, sir. May I approach you?
Yes.
Yeah. Does that refresh your memory about what you entered into your report, which you drafted as part of this?
Yes, it does.
Does it refresh your memory that, in fact, you make reference to cell phones, plural, when it comes to Mr. Walsh's cell phone?
Yes, it does.
Does it refresh your memory that, in fact, you made reference to all the children's cell phones?
Yes.
Does it refresh your memory that it referred to the children's iPads?
Yes.
Is it also fair to say that at the end of that report, you make specific reference that, quote, the agreement is attached to this report?
Yes, sir.
And the agreement we're talking about is what's already been introduced in evidence, correct?
That is correct, sir.
It's fair to say that that agreement that was introduced in evidence does not refer to multiple cell phones, multiple iPads, correct?
That is correct, sir.
And in fact, you said on direct examination that you had some conversation with Fanning, and Fanning then arranged to pick up the devices, correct?
Right.
That's correct.
And
Are
he already
you aware
testified
of the fact that Fanning
that he did.
has written a report about what he went to pick up?
I am not aware now.
Did you talk to Fanning about what he had gone to pick up and what, in fact, he did pick up?
No, I never spoke to exactly what he picked up.
So you don't know that when Fanning went to Mr. Walsh's house to pick up the devices pursuant to the agreement, he only knew to pick up one cell phone and one iPad, correct? Or you don't know?
I don't know what he actually picked up. I communicated 2 cell phones and an iPad.
And my question is, though, that you apparently don't know that based on the conversation he had with you at the command post, that he thought he was only supposed to pick up one cell phone and one iPad. You don't know that, do you?
I never questioned Lieutenant Fanning on what he picked up.
Okay.
Man,
Sure.
that is, like I said, that is potentially very big because, once again, if there was an agreement to pick up devices, they must be listed. What you're obtaining, what they are, who they belong to, and all of that fun stuff. If you decide, oh, well, since I'm already here, I mean, do you mind if I grab this cell phone and this iPad, the mini iPad as well? Do you have a problem with that? Or the 6-year-old's iPad? Do you have a problem if I also pick that up? Whichever one was not in the agreement. Oh, sure, yeah, go ahead. Well, that would kill it, obviously. Consent would immediately eviscerate any need, unless, again, you could still argue the lack of the form. I forgot about that, so that's another big one. But fruit of the poisonous tree, it may not be allowed to be introduced in a month and a half when this case finally goes to a jury trial. The jury may never hear this evidence of some of the searches or all of the searches, depending on how far the judge is going to be willing to rule in excluding evidence in the case. So, God, another botched investigation by Massachusetts State Police. I am not surprised in the least. I mean, these people are heinous. I mean, look what they did to Tom's CPU, whom I'm currently representing. Look at what they've done to Bao Nguyen, who I'm also currently representing. And I know you guys are asking for updates, and I do apologize. I am limited in what I am allowed to share with you all because it is an ongoing litigation, and I know you guys are hungry and thirsty and you want to know, and I wish I could share with you. But there are certain things that I'm simply unable to... if it was you who I was representing, you'd be saying the same thing. Like, thank you, Larry. Thank you so much for honoring confidentiality and protecting my interests. If you were in their shoes, you would be saying that. So I'm sure you understand that my obligation to my clients comes before my obligations before my YouTube audience. So until then, folks, I love all of you. Thank you all for coming. I hope you learned something. We're going to continue this with one more Yuri video, and then we're going to move on to Schmidt. And also, Donna Adelson. Be on the lookout. We have tons and tons and tons of videos coming your way. We may go back to our old schedule, my time permitting. Of course, it's been very busy at the office, which is a good thing. I'm not complaining. But I will say that if I am able, my goal is to go back to what we did during the spring of this year, where I would release 3 videos a day instead of... Right now, we're still releasing 3 videos, but it's a short, a long, and a short. Instead, we're going to flip the script, and it's going to be a short, a long, and a long. A short at 1 o'clock, a long-form video at 4, continuing Brian Walshe, and then we're going to start Donna Adelson. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.